Hello everyone, this is Kevin the Switch Hippie here with another exciting episode of Groovy Old Records, rescued from the bargain bin. And I did a little surfing around town these past couple days and I found some stuff. First of all, one thing I did find, I found stacks of 45s. I'll have to do a separate video on those, but there's some good 45s in here. Let's talk about a few albums that I came across. The first one here is Mickey Newberry, Sings His Own. He was the guy who did that song, Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition. He did the original version, and then Kenny Rogers in the first edition did another version. The album, personally speaking, to me it's kind of boring, right? I didn't really like the record very much. And also when I tried to post the Just Dropped In on my feed, I got a little nastygram from the Mickey Newberry camp saying, no, they were not going to let me do that on YouTube, so whatever. Anyways, Mickey Newberry sings his own. Famous kind of country composer. Next one, this is actually a really good record too. This is There's Nothing Like an Old Hippie, Homer and Jethro. And I think there's a little, they make fun of hippie culture, but of course the reality is that a lot of the bluegrass music was actually revitalized by the hippies in the 60s and in the 70s. So this is a really good record. It sounds pretty good, even though the cover is pretty bad. Certainly worth a listen. Worth a listen. The cover's kind of weird too, huh? But that's all right. Homer and Jethro, what do you want? Good musicianship, and the songs are funny, right? Because they do comedy records. But again, there's no really hippie songs on there except for that one track. So. This next one is actually really brilliant. This is me and Chet, Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins. Jerry Reed is an excellent guitar player, and so is Chet Atkins. And so they did this album today. It's produced by Chet Atkins. Produced by Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed. I don't have a year for this, but it's actually a brilliant, brilliant record. It's not country. There's a lot of jazzy kind of things going on here. A lot of good picking, a lot of great stuff going on. So anyways, that's me and Chet, Jerry Reed, and Chet Atkins. You all know Jerry Reed, right, from the Smokey and the Bandit movies, and he was a big popular singer in the 70s. Got another one, Boots Randolph. Always good to have that one. This one, on Monument Records. I assume this is the original. It's good. The sound quality is not as good as the other Boots Randolph records I have, but still, excellent record, and I like to play it. So, Yakety Sax, of course, is the classic. Classic song. Next one, I've had this one before, and then I found another copy that's in better condition than mine, so I picked it up. This is Harry Belafonte, Midnight Special. And of course, here on track 1, Midnight Special, the title track is Harmonicas, played by Bob Dylan. Good sounding record, absolutely. It's that, like I always talk RCA Victor, that big thick vinyl that sounds wonderful. A couple scratches, but it's doable. I like to listen to it. Here's another cool one I found just by accident here, surfing through the bin, is a Trini Lopez, live at PJ's. Trini Lopez is very popular in the 60s. He used to do other people's songs, and I don't know if he plays guitar. I didn't see a lot of brilliant guitar work on here, but it's a great album, and it's kind of energetic because he's playing live. And I think below in my feed I put Unchain My Heart, which I think was a Ray Charles song, and what's it, Joe Cocker did it and all that. Next one is this album I grew up on. My father played this thing nonstop for about, I'm 58, so 58 years. The Kingston Trio, live at the Hungry Eye. I think I'm going to have to do a video on the Kingston Trio one day, I think. But, you got to like them. They were big in the 50s. This is 1959. They were big in the late 50s, early 60s. If you went to college at that time, you were listening to the Kingston Trio, and this was kind of their breakthrough album, I would say, maybe. Is that, it was quite popular. The Hungry Eye in San Francisco, where they were filling in for somebody else, and they got a record recorded. Aha! This is another great record here. I had this one many, many years ago. This is the best of the Delmore Brothers on Star Day. And again, one day I'm going to do a Star Day video on Star Day records alone because they're brilliant. Wonderful record, sounds great. Somebody loved this. I think these came out in the 70s, and like I said, I had bought some of these over in Britain when I was in the Navy, and I loved them. And this is a great one too. Which one do I? Hillbilly Boogie, absolutely excellent song. Great playing, great singing, great harmonies. Nothing bad about this record. If you find it in your local dumpster, pick it up. You know, I think you probably can get it on CD if you want. Okay, so I got those two, and I want to do those two last. So this one, I bought this one. I haven't listened to this one yet. Judy Collins. I listened to a little bit of it. You know, it's that early 60s folk, like Joan Baez, which to me is kind of boring, right? You know, it's supposed to be authentic, but it's more boring. So what I have listened to of this album is pretty boring. But I'm going to give it another whirl. Judy Collins, I'm not saying she's just talented, but I just don't like her music. But what I have heard, you know, the sound quality is good, and it has survived the days. And I don't know what year this is, 1960 something or no, early 60s for sure, because Judy Collins doesn't look like that. And you know, she had that head with Both Sides Now, which I thought was a great song. So, just that this record's not particularly interesting. Here's another great, fabulous record. I had this one years ago, and I'm glad to have it back. It's the best of Cowboy Copas, again, on the Star Day record label. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. This one, I absolutely love this album, and I don't think there's a bad song on here. Cowboy Copas, he was very big in the 50s and all that, but Cowboy Copas on the Star Day record. My favorite song here is the Cowboys Deck of Cards, which I'll put in my feed so you can listen to it, enjoy Cowboy Copas like the rest of us do. So there you go, Cowboy Copas. Now, oops, I keep knocking this over. Now, there's two albums here that normally I don't buy classical records. I am not a classical record fan. I don't like classical music. I don't say I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea, right? I appreciate it's, you know, the technical aspects of getting, you know, 100 violins and saxophones and all that stuff into an orchestra and making it sound good. So yeah, there's a great art form. It's just lost on me. It's just, I don't like it, okay? There you go. Normally I don't like it, but I found a couple ones that I do like. Actually, correction, I found one of them I do like. Sorry, how's that? This is the Bolero by Ravel, and I remember the Bolero because when I was in the Navy in Spain, we went to go see the Andalusian horses, and they would, the horses would dance along with the Bolero, and that's Ravel. And this is one of those Columbia Masterworks, right, which always sound good. And once I figure out how to get the GoPro to go past 12 minutes, I will put this on here so you can actually hear the whole Bolero. It's 15 minutes of brilliant passage, and it sounds really good on this record. So, Bolero, Leonard Bernstein is a super, super famous conductor. Columbia Masterworks, brilliant album. So this next one, the last one I have for you guys before I go, this is a weird one. So I saw this at the thrift store, and I'm like, it looked to me like, first of all, let me show this is Raphael Kublik, and he is doing Mozart. Is this the Philadelphia Philharmonic? And he's doing Mozart overtures, right? And I looked at this record. I'm like, wow. First of all, it's only $1.99, right? And I looked at it. I mean, this is a European record, right? You can tell by the way, this is where they sold records in Europe back in the 50s and 60s, right? They didn't have like we do. They're kind of folded up like that. I've got old Beatle records like this too, and old Cliff Richard albums. And just the form factor, they're just different. And it's not cardboard, it's kind of shiny paper. And then I looked at the record, made in England, by the way, too, so. And I looked at the record and I'm like, damn, let's see if I can get this record out. So this is, you know, the RC, his master's voice is the name of the record label, and mint condition, not a scratch on this thing. And I put one of the Cose fan tutti. I put that down here in my feed so you can listen to it and appreciate it too. But anyways, I looked at this record, and the first thing that came to my mind is that this thing must be worth like $1 zillion. I said, no way. I said, this is a European. This is a British import. I mean, this, and whoever owned this album probably never played it, right? Beautiful, wonderful, lovely album. Looked it up on Discogs, $10. So I paid $1.99. It's not worth 1,000 or 100. It's worth $10. So I do get a little bit of my money back if I decide to sell it, but I won't. And like I said, the cover kind of ripped a little bit on the bottom, so I've been just kind of shoving everything here in the plastic. So I don't want to wreck it. But then again, it's not really worth a lot of money either. So anyway, those are my finds for today. And we're going to do another one here shortly about the 45s. I've got a bunch of 45s I found. So some of it's interesting. So anyway, stay tuned for our next Rescued from the Bargain Bin. So all right, talk to you later, guys. Bye.